you're listening to the Mackay T Show podcast. Here are your hosts, Brian Mackay and T Davis.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.
Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. Well, when we take a break, and just miss all kind of goodies, T.
I don't know. I enjoyed my break.
I did too. It was nice. Had a little scare with the virus, but other than that, Christmas was nice, and yeah, that's all I can say about it.
Okay, can we pause for a second? Because this might take us down. I want you to rant and chant about the whole testing. Then because you had text me. What happened?
Oh yes.
Before we go down this one and forget.
Yeah. So I'll edit it around it. Okay, ranting and chanting and ranting.
It's chanting and ranting.
All right. So, like I said, we had a little bout with the virus over the break. I actually was negative, but a couple of family members wound up being positive, so I had to get tested. And we've already had my first chanting and ranting about the testing and the prices and this that, and the other. It didn't affect me, but the other people in the room that day, because I thought, because again I was uninformed, but now I'm more informed. I thought it was free, and
Right.
for everyone, but it was not. It's actually very expensive for some people who without insurance. But anyway, we ran in and chanted on that already. Chanting and ranting on this past testing experience. First of all, waited in line for 3 hours in a revolving line, all in your cars. Just moving at a snail's pace because
Right.
the testing takes a little bit. So, took about 3 hours to get to the point of being tested. Got tested, did the rapid test where they swab your nose, and do a rapid deal. And I was told up front, if you turn out to be negative, we're going to rapid swab you again, and that one would be sent off. to be sure, because of the fact that I was in close contact with people who were positive.
So they saying it ain't no way you could be negative about it. That's ridiculous. Go ahead.
So yes, and as I because once that happens, I got to start asking questions. And at least the lady, I don't know if she was a doctor, nurse practitioner, whatever. This is at an urgent care facility, so it wasn't like it was at a hospital or anything. But this lady was very forthcoming with all the information as I had questions, as I tend to do when something like that happens. And she told me that the rapid test has a 20% chance of coming out false, like being a false
Negative.
Yeah, be false negative, false positive, whatever.
Right.
So that's why they wanted to be doubly sure to send it off. And 2 to 4 days later, I got my results over the phone, and it was negative again. So for whatever reason, because I had, let's tell you, multiple folks around me at Christmas, they wound up positive.
Hmm.
For whatever reason, I don't know if it was God or what, but I was negative.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just that process, and I know, and everybody seems like they're getting tested now, and I understand that because you just want to be for sure. But man, I felt like I was there all day long, and then you get swabbed 2 times within a 15-minute span because you gotta wait.
Now, did they do your throat or nose?
Did the nose both times.
Okay.
And the girl, the second time, I think she went to the back of my throat with the thing because she got so far up my nose.
Man, I don't think they They doing the most with all that all the way up your nose. That lady, when I got mine, I don't know, before I went home, that she just kept swirling around in the same nostril. Then she did the other one, but it made my nose run. I was like, so doing that activates your nostril mucus. I guess that because I wasn't the only person that had that experience that felt like their nose started running after they finished.
Mine did too,
Um,
and the woman handed me a tissue, which I thought that's what it was for. And she said, "Oh no, most people start like tearing up." And I was like, "Oh no, I ain't got no
yeah,
tears."
no, I didn't tear up. Yeah, I just I was like, my nose feel like y'all don't activated my sinuses. And said, hey, turn on. Anyway, we
Yeah,
gotta do better with this testing. And now imagine that all the people that's trying to get tested and the 19 million that we say already got tested positive. That's a mess.
well, I hope this vaccine rollout goes a little smoother than what I'm seeing it go as we progress, because uh, they just need to hurry up with this vaccine so we can get
Well,
it
it's
whatever's
not. I don't
normal.
think
So,
it's. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying I just want us to get back to some semblance of normal. And
Well, find a normal. So that's the thing. I don't. We don't even know what it's gonna be because we can't get everything keep up and down.
right,
First, and that's because of this administration, which lead us on to our second part that we're gonna talk about in Chantin Rant. This administration, they ain't tried to do nothing about this vaccine, how it will be rolled out. People been coming up on their own how they want to do it. The CDC, I guess they trying to act like they doing something, but Court 45 on kicked the World Health Organization out of like off our radar and all. And so I'm sure they had some instructions on probably the best way to do this as well. And so um, Biden and Kamala them got and their administration got a lot of work to do in the first, not just the first 100 days, but they got a lot of work to do. But yeah, go ahead and talk about Cult 45.
so this past Wednesday, had a little insurrection at the Capitol, and this is my first thing. I want to get this off my chest. This is one of the other than a million other things that bother me about it. Let's just be clear, people. It is the U.S. Capitol, not the capital of your state. It's the U.S. Capitol. There's a O in the word. Stop,
Right.
stop using the wrong word. Stop using the wrong version of capital when you tweeting and
It's
facing.
like poll and poll. I told you, education system let them down. Go ahead.
No. But anyway, yes, a group of Trump supporters.
Okay.
So the insurrection of the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday. Uh, First of all, let's be clear. I don't care. There's so many people trying to justify. Oh no, it was Antifa. It was this. It was that. Those were Trump supporters. They were there for his rally. They came for the rally that he talked about way back. And let's be clear, like you said, they haven't done anything with the vaccine rollout. They haven't done anything with the vaccine rollout, anything with the virus in general since November, because they've been doing all these false claims about voter fraud, because they just can't accept that they lost the election. It wasn't voter fraud. It was called people like Stacey Abrams and people like that got out and got the voters out.
Right.
That's what happened to them.
People on the ground been doing work. She didn't sit around and cry. She had her week of okay, woe is me, and she said then she got to work and
Mhm.
got to coordinating all the people that was already doing the work and doing her thing, and et voila. When the
So
next time the Florida thing come up for governor? Cause I think uh she gonna be running again. I feel in my spirit she gonna run again.
is it every 2 years that happens?
That's
I,
what I'm gonna look up.
I
But
reckon.
anyway, go ahead and talk about the insurrection that they just calling a protest.
Yes. First of all, that was one of
Or
my
has it
first.
moved to a riot?
Let me be clear. For the first, because it happened. It started happening around. I guess it was around lunchtime, a little after lunchtime, my time on Wednesday, where it was all in the news, and you started seeing video and pictures show up, and reports were out there, and every news television organization was calling it protest. And I was just like, wait a minute, this is not a protest.
Right.
This is a little bit more than a protest when you have police officers being beat down and
Squished between doors.
pushed indoors. And I mean, they had one that was actually laid all the way out, but I think with a fire extinguisher, what the report was.
You sent the video of the man running.
And then that was the one I told you. Look at the restraint. It was an African American officer who was being, basically bombarded by.
Terrorized because he was scared. You can
And
see he had that. He picked
but
up that little baton, whatever you
he
call it.
never once grabbed his gun.
I can't understand it.
Why are we restraining? Why can I mean? And I'm glad. Don't get me wrong. I
Right,
don't
we
want
don't want people to get shot, but they do have these rubber bullets that will push you back a little bit. Like you don't take them rubber bullet shots and just be like, unless you're on drugs or something.
We saw the rubber bullets during the Black Lives Matter protest. That's when we saw the rubber bullets. But I'm not advocating for them to be shot, but I want them to be able to understand that there's a level of restraint you can show to African Americans as well,
Right.
of color. So there's that. Um, yeah, like I said, they were calling it a protest when it was not a protest. This was an all-out mob lynching, and just they
Right.
out
I'm
there with
glad you said
zip
lynching because
ties,
they had a noose out there.
a noose outside the Capitol. They had zip ties, and we're all in these congressmen and congresswomen
Offices.
offices, stealing things, stealing podiums, stealing mail, which is a
Took
federal.
the whole lectern out. Now, how do you get to walk out with that? What did you get on the bus with that? Did you walk back to your car with that down the street? Like, what are we doing? It
Yeah,
ain't funny, but I mean, really, you see a dude walking down the street with a lectern, and you like, "Oh, that's official seal. Look like that's a nice lectern." Like, where did he get that from? Like, what?
I don't
Dang.
understand. And I do understand it, but I don't understand. It's that kind of situation. How this can be so just complete opposite of what they were trying to make out the any of the Black Lives Matter protests. And same situation, you knew the Black Lives Matter protests were fixing to march on certain places, and because they were organized and they got the information out on social media for people. Same thing happened with these folks. They knew that these people were coming, and they were not prepared. Why were they so prepared, over prepared, for the Black Lives Matter movement, but not prepared for this? And I think it's just everybody in Washington is so consumed with what he's doing, and
Well,
and
so the word on the street is, Brian,
uh,
the mayor of DC, she put out a call for the National Guard to be brought in.
and let me tell you, she was very good during this whole situation because she could very well got out of herself during all this because she had every right to. She was very calm, very collected, and I thought she looked very good during this whole situation.
So
Every
she
time
called
she
for the
walked,
National Guard.
mhm.
What had I didn't I've been learning so much about how this government thing works since this man came into office. Um and that speaks to our poor educational system because all they tell you is the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branches, and they don't tell you really how any of it really works, like really how it works, how it affects you. But that's another story for another time. She put out the call. DOJ, it might be the DOD, has to say, okay, such this state or this city or whatever has requested this. Somebody has to sign off and say, yes, we're gonna send people. That never happened. So the request was made, and it was made in time for them to be able to send out, but that didn't happen.
Mhm.
So at that point, all she can do is, which is what she did eventually, was to ask for her neighboring states. So Virginia, Maryland, and all them, asking them, can you send some of your National Guard? We need help up here. Because you know that, like, people probably don't really think about it. DC is not a state; it's not like it's a district, so they don't really have and I could be wrong about this, but I don't think they have the kind of infrastructure that states have as far as statehoods and having national guards and all that. And so they have police, but I don't think they like a national guard.
Right.
I can Google that up and look that up. But I think that's part of the reason she had to call in Virginia and
Yeah,
I think
because they don't.
Maryland and some other places.
Yeah, because of there's no statehood in DC.
Right. And they just a district. So um the calls made, this is how you know, and I'm gonna get the book because somebody's gonna write about how all this happened. Because you know the DOD, somebody was a Trump court for a part of Court 45, and they say no, we're not gonna send the National Guard in, and we're gonna go along with what 45 wants us to do, and we don't care that we're gonna get some people hurt and injured and killed. Um, and so all DC's police could do was try to keep them from walking down there. But with such a large number of people, I don't know how many like people on their force. Once they get on federal property, the DC police don't have any jurisdiction.
Right.
So then it's on the Capitol Police. Now I had to do my investigation. Let's rewind, Brian. So when all of this fell out, I was reading the book. And so, and the book I'm reading is called "The Half Has Never Been Told," which is a great. It can be the novel for this what we're experiencing now. The half has never been told. By
It's almost prophetic that you will read that book at this time. But go ahead.
it's about slavery and American capitalism and all of that. So I'm reading my book, enjoying my life, and so I get I flip on the T. I don't know why. I don't normally have my TV on a lot, so I just flip it on. I see um a Baltimore up on the. You know who I call Baltimore? Tell the people.
Mm-hmm. You talking
Tell the
about
people.
Mitchell?
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
Baltimore is Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Baltimore is standing up there talking about, oh, it's not Congress's job to do something and go against the will of the people. And I was like, really, Baltimore? Like, is that really you? No, well, you don't get to put a white hat on now and try to act like you trying to do the right thing, sir, because you have been straight awful, evil anyway. So I was like, I can't. But then I heard them saying, that Cruz, they already had some Republicans that was going to object to the certification. So I was like, whatever. So I went on, read my book. So my buddy, my colleague, texted me, was like, you see this? And I was like, yeah, it's a hot mess. And so I move on. And then after I finished reading, I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. Because I go for a walk with my mom and the dog. Now,
Just to
this
be
is
clear, So you thought your buddy was talking about what McConnell was saying and what was going
yeah,
on in
I
the
thought she
Senate.
was talking about them objecting to
Right.
Arizona or whatever. And I was like, that's a mess. It's just a hot mess. So um, I go for my walk, come back in, and I still ain't turned on the television. So I'm in the kitchen. I think I was making a smoothie or something. And my mama called and she like, you see this on this TV? And I was like, okay, let me turn on this TV and see what's happening because take another step back. My colleague had texted me and she was like, it's getting scary. And I was like, what's getting scary? So I had called her before I went for my walk. I forgot. And she was like, they doing something at the Capitol. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I still didn't bother to look because I was like, I felt like they were probably walking up there protesting, like just protesting. And so, then, like I said, when I get back from a walk, make my little smoothie. My mama calls, I was like, okay, let me see what these people doing. Lord, I turned on that TV, Brian. I was like, this is more of a hot mess than I thought. this is this is way more. I missed all of. I ain't see none of it live. I saw 9/11 go, be showed to me live on whatever TV,
Right.
ABC. I saw Katrina. I missed all of this live. All I had to go back and do homework and look at commentary from my sources because I don't really ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, all of them, they part of the problem.
Yeah.
They can act like it's just Fox. Y'all are part of the problem because y'all label, oh, this a riot, oh, this just a protest.
Yeah,
He not lying. Just call a lie a lie. He called all of y'all fake news and y'all just went with it and just kept promoting it and kept going and showing up. Well, he the president of the United States. You don't have to do anything.
yeah, we could
You
have spent
chose to
3
do
years
it
without
because you were
$1
getting
billion.
ratings.
Right.
You wanted the ratings. You can call a lie a lie. If you know the facts, which is what news is supposed to be, telling people the facts, not what to get you ratings.
Fair and balance goes out the window when it comes to TV and media. It's gone out the window a long time ago, and print media is all almost dead. I mean, it's hanging on barely,
hmm
but it's you can get so much more fair and balance from print media than you can right now in 2021 with the TV media.
And you got to have some courage, Brian. You have to be like, somebody has to take a stand.
Yeah,
Do you want to follow your financial compass or your moral compass? I don't know that y'all have a moral compass. It's about capitalism. And again, that's why I'm reading my book. And Lord Brian, it's a mess. You should probably get this and we can talk about it.
mm,
But that book, The Half Has Never Been Told. So, by Edward Baptiste for anybody want to read it. Fake news. This has been the setup. The setup started in 2016.
really, before
Fake
that,
news. Fake news.
2016, yeah,
Huh?
really before that,
Well, he wasn't
2016.
calling it fake news. The media helped him get elected because they just showed all his outlandishness and never even called it out as poor behavior. Ha
Right,
ha, it's funny. Oh, look at what he's doing. He's mocking people with disabilities. He's talking bad about women. Ha
right,
ha. Let's show it because people want to see it and our ratings are through the roof. We don't care that this man, and obviously they couldn't foresee is this going to lead us into 300,000 people dead, um 19 to 20 million. I don't even know what number it is now that's got this virus.
mhm,
California are gonna probably mess around and be don't shut down because they talking about 1 in 4 people probably got the virus. It's crazy over there.
yeah,
They don't have no hospital beds. They got people, they asking people from other states, not people, but doctors and nurses to come because they need help. It's a mess.
yeah,
Um, but 2016, he started saying fake news, fake news, fake news. So people are not gonna do any research, which we've talked about on other podcasts. They're not gonna do their due diligence and find out what's real and what's fake. They just gonna
exactly,
believe whatever they hear or whatever that matches what their ideology is. And so once he got people to say, "Yeah, the news be lying, they ain't telling the truth," then they believe his lies, and
mhm,
he lie after lie after lie. But nobody call it a lie. And then when they started showing what they call them briefings at the Capitol at the when what was that lady name? The first one had dark hair, was his press secretary. Press
oh, yeah,
secretary.
yeah, yeah,
She
talking about when the Sanders, lady,
Sanders was, oh, he didn't, I think it's
now it's
what
McElhaney or whatever,
yeah. He didn't mean that. That's not what
right?
well, that's what he said. I don't know how you get to know what he meant. And then the blonde lady came along to do
I
the
think
same
it's
thing.
called press briefings. I think that's honestly what
Yeah.
they're, yeah,
He didn't mean that. That's not what he meant. Good people on both sides. Well, that's what he said, and it seemed like he said it with his chest.
yeah,
So then all of this just keeps building up. The lies, the lies. And then you get a bunch of ignorant Americans. And I'm calling for what it is. Ignorance is they don't know.
yeah.
They don't want to know and they don't know.
They want to believe what they believe,
And
and that's the problem.
they are married to their whiteness, which America is married to whiteness and white supremacy. And so somebody come along and thinking what they think, and they think he's strong and he speak his mind, and that's what I follow. Not just whites, blacks, browns, Hispanics, all up.
Mhm,
Not all, but a large number of people, because he got 74 million votes, Brian.
yeah.
Was going along with this foolishness. Now you got your Colt 45, and then you just stir the pot. They still in the election. They still in the election. And it's clear. We recounted, recounted. They lied. They lying. Because I already done told y'all that you can't believe the news. So now that the news saying the election over, they don't believe it.
See, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I was the owner of Dominion, and this may be in the works, Dominion is the people that own the boxes
Yeah.
I would sue the pants off of all these people because their
Well,
name.
Dominion is suing something $1 billion. They are suing.
They need to sue every single one of them because they have drugged their name through the mud and have no no actual proof of anything they claim. Literally.
Yeah, I saw something that where they are suing.
Good.
They filed a 1.3 billion defamation suit against Trump's Trump lawyers or something. So they suing.
If you
Now
don't
I know they're
mind,
gonna
if
get
we
no
can go down,
money.
since we're on false claims, if you don't mind, if I could just go down a rabbit hole for just a moment
Go
on
ahead.
this false, and we can come right back to the insurrection, and we just roll back into it. But
Hmm.
let's just talk about false claims that this administration has perpetuated and gotten out there. First of all, this is not necessarily this administration. This is just Republican theory in general.
Hmm.
They have it's long believed that people of color are just doing nothing, and we're just giving them all our money with welfare, and they just sitting around and collecting checks. I
Hmm.
did a little digging.
The welfare queen is what they call 'em. Go
I
ahead.
did a little digging on this, and I looked up government assistance and welfare, and almost 24,900,000. This is 2018 or 2019 numbers. 24,900,000 white Americans are on government assistance, welfare. And then you look at the number for African Americans, 11,180,000. 2 times as many white Americans. And let me be clear, to paraphrase President Biden, let me be clear. I'm not saying that all of them are sitting around doing nothing, but come on. Come on now. You're going to sit there and call a spade, you got to call it both ways. And when I'm sitting there, I can prove that to you. And let's keep going with false. Oh, and this is another thing that the Republicans, and I'm not calling just Trump, because I think there's two sides. There's Trump Republicans and there's Republicans. They both follow him, but there's two sides to him, and both of them will sit there and act like they don't remember how he treated President Obama when Obama was in office. And I'm talking about for 8 straight years, there was the birther movement where him and everybody he could talk about because he knew what he was doing. Like,
Hmm.
he's not a stupid man. He's very smart. He knows what he's doing. But the birther movement, where he was claiming that President Obama was not born in America, that went on for years. And even when the birth certificate came out and all the proof in the world, it wasn't enough. But that goes back to our point. They don't care about proof. Since he's been in office, it's Obamagate and treason, something else that has never once had any proof to it. In fact, it's been proven the other way that it did not happen, and they still have been yelling at him from the mountaintops. Let's go some more. Nancy Pelosi, I talked about this on a previous episode. There's a Facebook post out there claiming that she said that they were going to erect statues in well, she called him George Kirby, but talking about George Floyd.
Oh Lord.
There was Facebook posts all over the place claiming that. Never once did she say that. What she actually said, which is what happened, they were going to name police reform bills after him. Because at the end of the day, he was the face of this movement here
But
recently.
it's blowing up.
Right,
Hmm.
right. So they were going to name police reform bills after him. Never say anything about statues. Another false claim. Here we go. During a Zoom call during the presidential race, there was a Facebook post out there with a video clip. What looked like, and the video clip was manipulated on purpose. What looked like Joe Biden was on this Zoom call, I will vote deal, and it looked like he was referring. He kept calling his opponent. That's what it looked like. He was calling his opponent George, and the Facebook post was leading people to believe that he was confusing. He thought he was running against George Bush and not Donald Trump. Well, if you see the
Oh
whole
Lord.
video, the video is from a Zoom call. I will vote little deal, and George Lopez, the comedian, is the moderator. So he was talking to George Lopez, but people the Republicans will sit there and see that because they love fake news on Facebook. They just love it, and that's the social media is another big problem. They see that and they're all about it. Oh, he's losing his mind. He's got dementia. He's got dementia. Then there was the when this is back when the Democratic primary, when they were trying to get a presidential nomination, Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. She's going to come for all our guns. She said it. She said she's going to come for all our guns. False. And anyone with a high school education that knows even the smallest bit about government knows that that's not even possible. If she's president, she can come for your guns. Not possible. What she actually said at a Democratic primary debate in April of 2019, and I quote, upon being elected, I would give U.S. Congress 100 days to pass reasonable gun laws. And if they fail to do so, I will take executive action to get those laws passed. Never said anything about coming for your guns. Just fake news. Fake news, fake news, fake news.
They know that's the buttons to push.
But
Talk about
they're right.
abortion, talk
Right. They
about
know.
guns,
They
and
know that that's
people
what
just can't hear nothing else. You say something about abortion, you say something about guns, and there's a large number of Americans that lose their mind, and everything else is just white noise because they don't hear nothing else.
I've been told here in the last week that people don't like me. They didn't use these words, but this is what they mean. They don't like me because I'm quick to come with facts. If you say something that's not factual, I'm quick to come at you to no, that's not true. This is what actually happened. I'm quick to give people facts. But I was told this week, honestly, Wednesday, when all this stuff was going on, that people don't like me doing that. And
Well, what do you want? You want to, if you want to live on a life on lies, that's fine.
right.
I'm not supporting it, and you shouldn't expect me to. And quick fact check: the DC does have a National Guard armory, but I guess it's not that big because they asked for the Maryland and Virginia to come in.
Right.
But they do have one, according to this National Guard, this site. So, any more fact checking?
That's. I mean, I just wanted to hit those big ones because those were right on top of my mind this morning.
Well, let's throw one more in there. That 45 constantly, like he, without fail, him and his cronies, the Colt 45. The when he talked about black people, what is it? The something act, the something reform,
You talking about the prison reform?
prison reform.
Uh,
I did that. I did that. You didn't do jack. That started in the House, and that was passed by the House.
mm-hmm.
It had to go to the Senate. It was it did not start with you, 45. All you did was sign it. And then you took claim of it, which white people have been doing for years. Oh, I found America. Oh, wait a minute. It was people over here. You ain't find. Whoa, hey, whoa, Kim Osabe.
Labeled
No
them
pun
as
intended. No
indigenous.
pun intended. Whoa, Kim Osabe. We here. What you mean you found something? So, and took credit for work. Really, I don't know that presidents do too much of, like, the House and the Senate have to pass things. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. It's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I sit in committee, but I know I'll be a law someday. Oh, how I hope and pray. I can't.
That's
Maybe
beautiful.
we need to bring schoolhouse rock back.
I think we do, honestly, and for the older generation as well.
Cause it just be like, did y'all not see that? That was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, yeah,
So he don't do much but sign that in. He does stuff, he's the face of the country. He do stuff about military that yes, make call, do this, yes, do that. I'm signing that too. I'm vetoing that. But the Senate and the House, they do the lawmaking and all of that.
and since we bring that up, we can get in. We hadn't even got into Georgia yet. The fact that
Praise God for Georgia.
that they did right, and they got and to be and for those who are upset about the fact that the Democrat controls the House and the Senate and the presidency right now, here's the deal. Now this is the perfect time, a perfect example of you can hold your political leaders accountable because now that they have this control, they have to do something with it. They got to pass these laws. They got to get some things done.
Look, the Voting Right Act is up. It's been sitting there waiting for somebody because Baltimore had decided he wasn't going to do anything that the House had sent to them. He just, it's stacks of stuff that they sent over to him so the Senate could vote on so it could be a law. He like, I'm not bringing anything up. Voting Rights Act. George Floyd, that act with the police reform and all that in it. The I don't know if somebody shot down the lynching act, but I don't know if they brought it back up since they had control of the Senate. The Affordable Care Act, like they've been trying to get rid of that. Why they been doing the magic tricks? Hey, look at this, look at this. Over here, they trying to take Medicare, like People's Affordable Care Act, 20-something million Americans. They even were dragging them out when they did their little small protest in the Capitol. They were picking them up and dragging them out. I saw video of that yesterday when I was trying to do my homework for this. So anyway, we're not educated. We don't know how things work. We have been and I use we loosely. They lie, you lie. You got 70-something million people that believe the lies, and now you can just tell them anything. And if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And they stirred up the pot. He said, "Let's go to the Capitol." Before he got up there, saw a snippet. Giuliani saying crazy stuff. I saw a snippet of another man saying something, and he had got them all lathered up, for lack of a better word. He got them lathered up and sent them on down to the Capitol. And
Yeah,
then they had like 5 Capitol Police standing up there, and 5 Capitol Police on the steps talking about y'all stand back. And how many people you guess was in that crowd? Has somebody said a number?
I hadn't heard, but it was
It's a
thousands.
good 50-something thousand.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And then you got about 10 or something thousand come up there. Cause I don't know that all of them came, but shoot, it looked like it. They were climbing the walls. I was like, really? That what we doing? You sent me that picture of them climbing walls. I was like, really?
Oh, and somebody put the Super Mario Brothers theme song to
Do, 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 do,
one
do,
of them
do, do, do,
fell, and
do, 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 do,
I,
do.
I was done. That was the only thing that got me through. When I
I didn't
saw
see
that,
that.
I said, first of all, people got too much time on their hand, but that made me chuckle. And I
I
need,
chuckled the one you sent when that kid said, "Go get my check off somebody's desk."
oh yes, while y'all there storming the
Yeah,
Capitol,
I
my
I
stimulus
was like, I
check.
can't. Some people
But no,
just
since you talk about the House and the Senate, I just want to bring this up. After all that happened, they still went back in and certified the election. But during the certification, obviously you had your Arizona, I think was the first state
right.
that came out against it. And 147 House Republicans and 6 senators voted to overturn it. Still, after that attack, just hours after that attack on the Capitol.
Republicans can say what they want to say. They can throw this all and say, "Oh, we just gonna put it on him." But I'm pretty sure in another podcast I said they found face that would say what they wanted to say, but they wouldn't say because they knew it was politically incorrect. And do all the stuff that they wouldn't mind doing, but they worry more about their pockets and their populism,
Right.
and so they won't do it and won't say it. And 100 of them, those are the ones that were just like they don't care. It was probably more.
And the
You
reason
got 6 senators, Cruz, Hawley, whoever else. They all shouldn't be, because it's something that the Senate can do and the House can do to not punish but have a consequence for their action, because all of that led up to this. If these people don't back 45 on what he's saying that this a lie, you can go through the process, because the process is there for a reason. If you want to go through the process and go through the courts, that's fine. But for y'all not to say that this man is lying, that just made the people believe like, okay, he gotta be telling the truth, because ain't nobody calling it a lie.
Yeah.
Even though a number of them wouldn't believe, but if I think a number of them, like if more people were saying he lying, this is legal. We don't believe nothing the Democrats say. Now he don't say fake news. We don't believe nothing the news say. But we even got Republicans that saying it too. So it's got to be right. They part of the problem.
And the reason I bring those numbers up about the House representatives and the senators that voted to overturn afterwards, is because they range from all over the United States. Obviously, there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this podcast, we don't have millions of listeners, but we have, every show has, thousands and thousands of listeners, and they range from, not just in, like, I'm in the South, you're on the East Coast, not just in those. They're from all the way from um, Washington State to Boardman, Oregon. I mean, to do all over the place. And I want you to go out there and I want you to look at those lists. And if those senators and those representatives are from your state, and you feel any type of way about what happened on Wednesday, in the negative, and I'm sure there's some on here that are listening and probably just wishing we'd shut up because they agree with everything. Some of them are probably there. But if you feel the negative way on what happened, I want you to take a real hard look. And next time those people come up for election, I want you to remember that.
So we got that foolishness.
And
We
that's
done
my
got people
that's
killed.
my Stacey Abrams moment. So
Right. You got this. Well, you didn't get them killed. They went there on their own. But that police officer, he was just trying to do his job.
right,
They ain't said how he died, but I did see video of that one man. If I don't know, have you ever been, celebrated when like a team hit a last second shot and a bunch of people run out on them?
mm,
I did that one time, and I didn't do it again. I did it one time when I was in high school, and it's very dangerous. It's a wonder more people don't get hurt
right.
the way it happens. But seeing them pushing, and they weren't celebrating, like they were pushing, heave ho, like video of them trying to push through the doors.
USA, USA. That's all you kept hearing. All
They
the,
said hang Pence.
yeah, yeah.
Like these people weren't protesting.
They
They
had
were
good
trying to
time.
overtake the government and
See, they
stop this
had good
certification
time.
of a president from happening.
What would they have done with them zip ties? They'd have got a hold of Pence.
They was gonna have some people hostage and say until y'all do whatever.
And they act like it was okay for them to
They
be
had
doing.
some of them had weapons, pipe bombs, Molotov cocktails was found in people's cars. And I don't know if they had it on site. I know they had the pipe bombs and stuff on site. Um
I know I keep bouncing around, but I just going back to the TV media.
mhm.
Like I told you yesterday when we were talking about this, Fox News, and it's not just Fox News, but I'm gonna harp on them for a second because the later it gets on Fox News, the more racist it gets. I'm on record of saying that already, and I truly believe it. But Laura Ingraham Angle, first, she starts off in her little early monologue. Obviously you have to lead with the capital stuff, but the first thing she truly gets into It was about how the NBA players were all kneeling in protest of what happened at the Capitol that day, because she knows her viewers hate that, and still to this day, because that is a peaceful protest. And what Kaepernick did, what he started, is a peaceful protest.
Ain't bothering nobody
Ain't hurting nobody, but it bothers them
but
so
your
much
feelings.
because of what they hear. They think they know about that. And so it's supposed to be disrespectful, actually. And I keep bringing, this is the other thing that people. This goes back to me being told that people don't like me bringing facts. This goes back to that, where I tell people, well, no, actually, if you know the story, he started out before the media even started covering it. He started out
Yes.
sitting on the bench.
Yes.
And then he was approached by some veterans who said, you know what, we're all about your, right to protest, but here's a way you can do it. That's it's kind of it's the way we use to honor a fallen soldier, and they kneel. He said, and that will be a peaceful way, a respectful way through your protest. And he began to do it that way, and that has ballooned to other, sports doing it, and this that, and other. But they don't hear that. They still just think he's just a sorry SOB and he needs to get off that field. Whatever Trump, called him, and what he called the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading this on Twitter.
These are the same people that kneel to pray, Brian.
Yeah,
So if kneeling's so disrespectful, why are you doing it to your God?
exactly. But somebody responded to a tweet that Don Staley had, because Don Staley's team has been kneeling every game this year.
Okay.
And they kneeled again after what happened at the Capitol. And someone wrote to her and asked, and I've been guilty of this in way back when this all first started. I've been guilty of this on this podcast, and I will cop to that because I remember when I said it. But their question to her was that, all great, as far as, you're doing your protest, but what are they doing to solve the problem? Or what's next? Like, basically, what's next? And Don's response to him was this: first, there must be conversation. That's what we're doing now. That's what that's what the protest is all about, to invoke conversation. And then the next step, and there is a next step, but it's going to require some people facing truth, and they're not willing to discuss that yet. And he said, furthermore, the victims have to solve the problem. Why should the victims have to solve the problems of the offenders? But we'll certainly try. And that was hers. I thought that was really nice.
Yes.
Really,
White people, get to work. We have been doing, and I say we as in not just black people, brown people, but for the most part, black people, I'm going to just call it what it is, have been out here marching since Martin, before Martin, now trying to get this place to, you said all men created equal. Y'all ain't been living by that.
well, that was written for white men. It wasn't written for people of color.
Well, I don't care what. Just like Black Lives Matter don't mean
No,
that the
I'm
other
just
lives
saying,
don't matter.
when that was, and I don't agree with it. I'm just telling you that, and that's what it's lived by. It's sad that it is that way. And like another,
I think on some level though, I think on some level when that was written, they knew that all people were created equal. They might. I don't think that they didn't just like, oh well, we gotta, because again, the more I read about how have been told in some of these other books that I've read last year, people were on the fence like, I know I own slaves and this is bad, and like but this is a money maker. Like they were going back like, this is not good, but this is the way I make my living, and this makes my life easier. And it's like, again, it's King Cotton and tobacco and all, like this is helping us make this country that we want. So people teetered, and so in their spirit, on some level, they knew that it was bad, and on some level, they knew, we wrong about this, but we gonna do it anyway.
yeah, well, and that was written when people of color was not thought of as 3/5 of a human. If I remember.
But that's the thing. We weren't always thought of 3/5. All that 3/5 stuff came up. We weren't always slaves. We didn't come, and all of us didn't come over here as slaves. all of that came up with when America started getting closer to having the 13 states or whatever to try to start a union. Like initially, not all blacks weren't over here slaves and weren't brought over here as slaves.
Right.
And again, that's part of the history lesson that really they don't even talk about history around black people and us coming over here and actually holding positions and power and all. And then it just starts to go left. But again, I got to read some more on my book, and I can be more specific about how some of this stuff transpired. But I even just this morning watching St. Augustine, one of the oldest cities in the America, like the first one. I didn't. I don't think that I realized how much the Spaniards own this and the French own this part of that, and they bought this from somebody else, and like to piece this thing together. Britain had this part of the country. Like when you learn it in school, you just feel like America. Like I guess that it was just all put together. Like oh, they just make these states and this is how. You don't have no idea of all the violence. Getting back to the insurrection, this place was formed on violence.
Yeah.
Fighting, warring, thievery, killing, stealing to take what you want. That's in the fabric of it. Slavery as well. All of that is in the fabric of it. And until you admit you have a problem and you can't fix it, America has not admitted how violent she is or how much slavery and white supremacy and capitalism, and maybe they acknowledge capitalism, but they sure don't acknowledge slavery. It happened and you should get over it, basically.
Right.
And well, it ain't as bad. Well, okay, well, it was bad for a minute because that 8 minutes and 49 seconds that we watched, that was horrific. Let's throw some money at it because that's the easy fix. Oh, we're gonna throw some money at it. But no, what I need you to do is not back Cult 45. What I need you to do is not want to pay your taxes and want to live off and take your companies and all offshore so that you don't have to pay taxes when if more tax money go in and it's used appropriately, then it don't matter what city or what town or what county I live in. My child can get the same education as Bill Gates' grandchildren and all of that because there's enough pie for everybody to eat. But you want to take all the pie and whatever crumbs that might fall off the side when transport out, you want others to be living off of them.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Like all these billionaires. Oh, why don't y'all build? Why don't this Tennessee? Why don't y'all pay for this stadium for me, who's making billions, and I'm going to continue to NFL make so many billions of dollars, but y'all want these cities to foot the bill for your $100 million stadiums.
Right.
Well, just everybody do their part. It's enough for you to be Pence out here talking about. And I can't remember. I should have looked it up. What rally was that, or what speaking engagement? And I heard him. They want the rich to be poor, and the poor to be comfortable.
You just want everybody.
You mean the rich to be poor? We don't care that people are rich, but nobody should be around here not being able to eat. In America is supposed to be the greatest place on earth.
Right. The other countries look up to, but then you see other countries out there giving monthly stimulus checks to all their citizens, and
To make sure they're taken care of.
we're fighting over $600.
$600.
Yeah.
Nobody should be like, oh, I had a medical emergency. Now I'm poor. Like I had to file for bankruptcy because I had one medical event that I couldn't take care of in the hospital. I just couldn't. I had to file for bankruptcy.
It should never come to that.
That
Not
should never
in this
happen.
country, but it does. And I'm just going to end my piece on this by saying this last little thing. And it's just a personal situation for me because I know and everybody, because I had these conversations over the week and this came up. basically, you're white. Why are you sitting here caring about what happens to people of color? And here's the deal. For those who don't know, and even those who do, I've said this before on this podcast, I have scoliosis. I have Klippel-Feil syndrome. Every day that I walk out my house, it's honestly a struggle because I, I'm looked at as different. I'm treated as different by anyone who sees me because we're raised in this country to think people who look different from you, there's a problem with them. And so many people out there who treat me some type of way because of the way I look. So I can sympathize with a person of color. I can't say that I walk in their shoes because I don't, because it's a difference, and I know that. But empathy and sympathy is something I can have for those people because I know, and just in one situation on job interviews, I can tell you I've been on hundreds of job interviews over the past 7-8 years, and I can tell you within seconds that I'm not going to get that job because I can tell how they reacted when first seeing me, and I can see it in their eyes. And even jobs that I think I'm overqualified for, I will come home from an interview and thinking, am I truly qualified? Am I truly good? It will make you question yourself because of how people treat you. So I understand. I can empathize and I can sympathize with that. And we need more empathy and we need more sympathy because that's how the people of color in this country are feeling. When they're being treated a certain type of way, it wears on you, and mentally it can make you think that there's something wrong with you when there's nothing wrong with you.
Well, white people, y'all got to get to work. Y'all made this mess. Black people, we ready to fight with you and do what needs to be done to make this place a better place. But you see your brothers and sisters out there, and you go, oh well, you gonna come up with some reason. Well, they didn't know no better. Oh, and don't try to say it was a bunch of country bumpkins or whatever out there, because it was millionaires out there, people that flew out there on jets. It was
CEO,
people that was in government out there. It was poor people. It was middle class. It was all walks of life
yeah,
out there trying to take over the government because they didn't get what they wanted. Call it what it is. Stop acting like you don't see it because you can sympathize. Oh, well, that just look like your cousin Johnny, so you can feel empathetic. But no, you need to call cousin Johnny and all of them on the carpet, Bubba, call all of them and let them know either you need to go back in the closet with the racism and all the foolishness, or you need to change your ways and repent from your sins and turn around. Because you always, how you gonna have a sign in the Capitol talking about Jesus saves? Really? Really, you gonna bring that? Y'all in here trying to kill and kidnap and take hostage and blow up stuff, and you got a sign talking about Jesus saved? Did you know the Confederate flag? That's the first time the Confederate flag has ever been in the Capitol.
that's crazy.
Even during the war and all, that flag has never been in there.
Right.
So y'all got to get to work, white people. And I ain't talking about Brian, like you've been doing the work, you speaking out against it, but mostly your brothers and sisters out here, they ain't doing their part. And so, oh, I feel bad, but you don't want to speak up in these meetings when you see stuff. You better find some courage.
Yeah. And I mean, like I
You
said,
see Karen out here acting a fool, find some courage and call Karen to the carpet and stop letting it always be black people or brown people that's got to call them out and record them.
and like I said earlier, the Democrats, they hold the presidency, the House, and the Senate majority right now. They got to get stuff done. All these things they're saying, and all the things I have come to believe in. They're wanting a more inclusive society. I want a more inclusive society because God knows I felt excluded for years. I would love a more inclusive society, you know, and if they're really truly believing that, then they have the means to do it now, and we have to get it done because we need a better world. We have to get a better world for our children, for the youth.
I want y'all to stop lying about how this is the most divided the country, and if Biden come up against the president, it's just gonna further divide. Child, stop playing yourself. As Ebro or would say on New York, one of them radio. I think his name is Ebro.
Ebro, yeah, Ebro
Stop,
in the morning.
you just played yourself.
Yeah,
This country has been divided. 2020. What is that about vision? It just opened y'all eyes so you can see what black people have been seeing and brown and native and others have been seeing for the longest time and been trying to tell y'all. We tried to tell you. 2020 showed you. You don't want to see it. Now, you know how when you at the eye doctor, because some of y'all got good vision. You probably don't know. But some of y'all don't. Is this better or worse? That's what he's like, is this better or worse? And so now we off 2020 and we on 2021. Is this better or worse? The doctor is moving that little lens up and down. You can say it's a little better, it's a little worse, and he gonna keep moving it until you get it just right. Then he do another thing after you say that's better or worse. Then he start checking with the other vision. If you're farsighted or nearsighted. But we ain't even got that far, Brian. He's still saying, is this better or worse? Y'all gonna have to make a decision. You can try to say whatever about this insurrection. We got a short memory. People gonna forget about it when the next thing happened, like the inauguration. And I don't, if they don't impeach this man, or I don't trust Pence to do anything. And even though he don't threw him under the bus, I don't trust him to bring up the 25th Amendment. But they definitely need to impeach him again. Because my understanding is, and what I've heard, if he's impeached again, he can't run for office ever again.
right.
So
He's done.
2024 wouldn't even be on the table for
Right.
him to do anything. Because it's nice on Facebook and Twitter, y'all guys are backbone now, and y'all don't suspended him because he incited violence. Whatever. There's this thing called the black web, and they just showed a site on the news this morning when I was working out that people that's underground go on. So he'll be on there, and who knows? I don't know what they plan for this inauguration, but I hope it ain't nothing live where they can act a fool again, cause I don't doubt that they would take this to another level.
And any Republican, I'm sure none of the House and Senate is listening to our podcast, but if by chance they are, let me just put this out there to you. If you're planning on trying to pause or stop this second impeachment as it probably is coming, at least the papers of it in the process, you're planning on trying to stop this at all, let me just reiterate. You have lost the House, the Senate, the presidency, the respect of the world, and 350,000 people over the past year. And 4 years, honestly, with other do the respect deal, but 350,000 lives over the past year with this virus because of what you've had in office. Just think about that. Think about.
Oh, they don't care about people dying. Brian, you heard that white man get on TV and say, the old people, go ahead, you can die for so the young. You ain't hear him on Fox News?
I heard it.
They don't care nothing about people dying. They want to hold on to power. And they seeing right now that when black, brown, yellow, native, red, whoever come out and vote, we tried to fix the system and gerrymander and move these districts around so that no matter how they vote, then that we could still win these states and counties. That didn't work. Thanks to Stacey Abrams and the people in Philadelphia and some of these other states that they didn't think they was gonna lose. And so now they're gonna come up with a new tactic. And all Democrats, that don't mean that they're gonna vote yes for stuff that they should. And so while it is 50-50, you who knows what's going to happen. You're going to have to hope that a couple of Republicans can come over, or Democrat don't go over to the other side, to the dark side. The Senate, that's so close. Who knows? Because when you watch them votes and you see them tallies, you'll see a couple of Democrats didn't want the stimulus check, or a couple of Republicans move over to the other side. So this a mess. It's a hot mess. But we can start fixing it by voting for what to help us and not talking about we just Republican. You need to be voting for what's gonna move you forward. And all the poor middle class white people out here struggling and still paying on their student loans and they've been out of school for 20 years. Y'all keep voting Republican. You see they gave y'all $600.
You out
Keep
here
voting Republican.
voting against your interest.
Yeah.
Don't even know it.
Keep voting against your interest. Keep worrying about your foreclosure on your home now. Cause don't nobody care what when this thing over, these people gonna want their money.
Yeah.
They can say we suspending the payments and all that. They gonna want their money when this is over, all said and done. And that $900 billion that they passed, ain't none of it is for you to keep your house. Good luck with that. Keep voting against your interests. Because in 2 years, the Senates and all these, some more seats will be coming up.
Right.
In 2022.
Yes, and we keep bringing up Stacey Abrams, and she did great for the state of Georgia. But in 2 years, we're going to need that same energy from some other people. She can't do it all again. We're going to need that
Right.
same
The
energy.
Georgia seats will be solidified for the next 2 years. But like next year, I mean, I don't know if they keep these on even years, but like in 2022, some more seats will come up.
Yep.
And they'll just keep coming up every 2 years. Anyway, the House seats will come up soon too.
Yeah.
And so, like Brian said, look at them 100 and some people that wanted to lie and say, oh, and challenge the certification when there's no indication of any kind of fraud in how we vote. And mail-in voting is fine. Plenty of states have been doing it and that's been the only way they vote, and there haven't been any problems. But you listen to the lives of Cult 45, and you see where they got you.
Yeah.
Embarrassed all across the world.
What do you
But y'all
have
can
to
keep
say?
saying y'all proud to be American. Well, you know you free. Okay.
You have anything else you want to talk about before we?
Well, very quickly, looking forward to Friday. Is it Friday? WandaVision.
Yes, WandaVision.
Because as I keep looking at these things, I'm like, at first I don't know why I was like, WandaVision, okay, whatever. But then I was like, okay, wait a minute, she is manipulating all this stuff with her mind. And I don't think for some reason I hadn't put all that together. So I'll be interested to see how they introduce this. If they just gonna jump in it, and then you're gonna figure out how she's manipulating everything, or if
Well,
they
they
gonna
did
give us
come
some kind
out.
of background of after the end game, or is this gonna be way before end game and any of that happens? But she's grown and met the guy now, so it can't be before her and her brother, right?
Right. I don't know how they're gonna play this out. I know everything is supposed to be post in game, but I just don't know how they're
Okay.
doing this whole, going back to decades deal. Uh, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting how they put this together. I know they're gonna have 9 episodes, so it's plenty enough episodes to kind of let the story play out, and it's going to lead straight into the next Spider-Man and the next Doctor Strange movie. So it's gonna
Totally
connect
need
to both of
them.
those.
Well, Strange more than Spider-Man. He don't had a couple, but I've been
Right.
waiting for Doctor Strange. Soul was good. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed the music a great deal. I love the piano, so I really enjoyed that. And I thought it was well done. I think it's more for young adults to adults. Children gonna enjoy it just because of the colors and the little characters, but I don't know
Right.
that they're gonna get the meaning of it. Which I mean, The Incredibles was pretty much the same way. I don't know that they understood like, oh, he had to work and all of that was happening with them either. Mandalorian, thanks to my co-host and friend, I have access to Disney Plus on my own. Look, on my own now. And been watching that. Baby Yoda is just like a real baby. Put everything in his mouth. And
Anything.
touch everything. But Brian, you remember the episode when him and the lady was talking and the thing started shaking? And the baby was up there touching stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, Lord have mercy. This why you don't want no man raising your children. He ain't paying no attention to where that baby is. He out doing whatever. He don't feed it. I told you that yesterday. That's why I be running around trying to eat everything. Can't wait to see the last couple of episodes of that. What else we got coming up? Nothing. Is that all Disney Plus got up? Soon what? We got Coming to America.
Coming to America in
Really?
March, yes.
That I know that's a little ways off, so I should hold off on that. I don't know why I thought that was close. But yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, and Disney Plus over the next year is gonna have a ton of things come out that's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna enjoy that.
And I'm interested in. Hold on, when is Martin Luther King's birthday celebrated?
What time is it?
Is that where?
No. It's January. Okay,
right.
so it's next Monday. So
Next Monday.
we'll be off next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that don't mean we won't record, but we won't have to go to work.
Right.
Here's the thing. People be safe, cause everybody love Martin and want to talk about how Martin was peaceful and all, but people wasn't loving Martin when he was alive. And I know people want to celebrate and all, but we gotta sit down for a little while and try not to let this virus keep spreading like this wildfire that it has become. And so, we already seeing these crazy numbers from since we had Thanksgiving, and Christmas numbers I feel like are coming in now because it's been about 2 weeks since Christmas and New Year's. Been a week or so, and so now we reaping that because we got millions of people that were traveling in clusters, and Lord help us all.
That's all you can do is pray about it.
But yeah, hold the God's unchanging hands. I ain't gonna sing this week, but just hold to it.
As always, I'm one of your hosts, Brian Mackay, and I am with
T. Keep Hope Alive, Davis.
And this has been the Mac and T Show podcast. We back, y'all.
This is the Mac and T Show. This is the Mac and T Show. We talk movies and TV shows, sports and world news, coasting like on a world cruise. Hosted by Brian Mackay and T Davis. Yeah. You can't tame us. We're going to the top, we're becoming famous.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mac and T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mac and T Show.